Welcome to the ruins of a chaotic empire. You are here because you have stood in the center of the narcissist's sexual anarchy and felt the ground beneath you crumble. You remember the beginning, the intensity, the magnetism, the way they made you feel like you were the only person in the universe. But then, the borders began to dissolve. The monogamy became a suggestion rather than a rule. The freedom they preached turned into a license to betray. You were gaslit into believing that your desire for commitment was controlling or insecure. You were forced to accept a landscape of shifting loyalties, triangulation, and secret lives. But I am here to tell you that their freedom was not enlightenment, it was a desperate flight from intimacy. Have you ever looked into their eyes after they returned from one of their conquests and seen nothing? No joy, no fulfillment, just a cold, hungry void? The haunting question that plagues every survivor is, why wasn't I enough to make them stay? You tortured yourself with comparisons to the other people, the other bodies, the other supplies. You thought if you were prettier, wilder, or more open-minded, you could have tamed the beast. But the beast cannot be tamed because the beast is starving. The narcissist isn't looking for a partner, they are looking for a mirror. And one mirror is never enough to reflect the enormity of their delusion. We are going to dismantle the myth of the free-spirited narcissist. They sell this image of themselves as a sexual revolutionary, someone too complex, too potent, too alive for the constraints of traditional love. They wear their promiscuity like a badge of honor. But if you look closely at the sexual anarchy they create, you don't see joy. You see panic. You see a frantic, compulsive need to secure supply from every direction because they are terrified of the silence that comes when they are alone. Their freedom is actually a frantic treadmill of validation seeking that never goes anywhere. Imagine a person who builds a house with no walls and then complains that they are cold. That is the narcissist's soul. By refusing boundaries, by engaging in a lifestyle of sexual anarchy, they ensure that nothing can ever stay inside to warm them. They claim they want connection, but every new partner is just another layer of insulation against the terrifying reality of being known. Real intimacy requires standing still. Real love requires being seen. The narcissist runs from body to body because if they stopped running, they would have to face the person in the mirror, and they hate that person. This video is going to expose the death trap they have built for themselves. You may feel like the victim, and indeed, you were abused. But in the grand scheme of their life, you are the one who escaped the burning building. They are the ones still trapped inside, convinced that the flames are a party. We are going to look at the psychology of the hunter who becomes the hunted. We will see how their refusal to commit condemns them to a life of superficiality, where no one knows their true name, only their performance. The sexual anarchy is often sold to you as modernity or polyamory weaponized. They twist concepts of ethical non-monogamy to serve their unethical need for domination. They want the freedom to hurt you, but they demand loyalty from you. It is a dictatorship disguised as a democracy. They want a harem of admirers to regulate their self-esteem. When one source runs low, they pivot to another. It is a logistical operation of emotional extraction, devoid of the sacredness that makes sex meaningful. You need to understand that this behavior is driven by a bottomless pit syndrome. The narcissist has a hole in their psyche where their self should be. They try to fill this hole with sex, with adoration, with the thrill of the chase. But sex is biological, the hole is spiritual. You cannot fix a broken soul with an orgasm. So, the relief is temporary. The high wears off in minutes, replaced by an even deeper, darker low. This drives them back out into the anarchy to find the next hit, more desperate and less satisfied than before. We are going to validate the intuition that screamed at you to leave. You felt the dirty energy. You felt the crowded bedroom, even when it was just the two of you. That was your spirit sensing the legions of ghosts, exes, and potential targets the narcissist carries with them at all times. You were never alone with them because they are never alone with themselves. They are possessed by their own appetites, slaves to a compulsion that masquerades as liberty. Why is this secret knowledge? Because our culture often glorifies the player. We mistake their pathology for charisma. We mistake their inability to bond for independence. But the truth is, The narcissist is the most dependent person on earth. They are dependent on external validation to survive. Without a steady stream of sexual attention, they collapse. Their anarchy is not a choice, it is a survival mechanism for a fragile ego that is terrified of irrelevance. Prepare yourself. We are going to walk through the graveyard of their freedoms. We will see that by saying yes to everyone, they said no to the only thing that matters, love. By the end of this script, you will realize that their sexual anarchy is a prison cell with open doors that they are too broken to walk out of. Let's expose the trap. To understand the sexual anarchy, you must understand the difference between sensation and connection. For a healthy person, sex is a bridge to intimacy. For the narcissist, sex is a regulation tool. When they feel empty, they use sex to feel full. When they feel anxious, they use sex to feel powerful. The anarchy, the chaos, the multiple partners, the cheating, the porn addiction, is their way of self-medicating. They are shooting up dopamine to numb the pain of their own existence. They are not free spirits, they are junkies chasing a dragon that flies further away every day. They suffer from object constancy failure. Out of sight, out of mind. When you are not physically providing them with pleasure or praise, you cease to exist as a relevant object in their mind. This is why they cheat. This is why they keep backburners. They cannot hold the emotional memory of your love to soothe themselves. They need a fresh supply in front of their face to feel real. Their freedom is actually a total inability to sustain an emotional bond across time and space. They are trapped in a perpetual now, governed by impulse. The Don Juan or femme fatale persona is a mask for deep insecurity. The narcissist is terrified of being ordinary. Monogamy, to them, feels like death because it implies they are just a husband or just a wife. They need to be the ultimate lover, the prize, the one that got away. By engaging in sexual anarchy, they prove to themselves that they are special. Look how many people want me, they think. I must be a god. But a god doesn't need to beg for worship, a false idol does. Visceral metaphor, think of the narcissist as a vampire in a blood bank. They are surrounded by life force, but they can't produce their own. They gorge themselves on the sexual energy of others, your youth, your beauty, your innocence. They drain you dry and then toss the husk aside, claiming they need variety. But it's not variety they need, it's vitality. They are dead inside, using the anarchy to steal the pulse of the living. This isn't freedom, it's parasitism. The cool girl guy trap is part of their psychological warfare. They manipulate you into accepting their anarchy by labeling boundaries as uncool or controlling. We don't need labels, they say. Why are you so jealous? They weaponize modernity to make you feel guilty for having human needs. They force you to suppress your intuition to keep them. This creates a dissociative state in the victim. You start to disconnect from your own heart to survive their chaos. You become a casualty of their war on intimacy. Compartmentalization is the engine of their anarchy. They can sleep with someone else and come home to you without a shred of guilt. How? Because they have split their mind into airtight rooms. In room A, they are the loyal partner. In room B, they are the reckless hedonist. These rooms do not touch. This fractured psyche allows them to live double, triple, or quadruple lives. But a fractured mind is a weak mind. It requires immense energy to maintain the walls. Eventually, the walls crack, and the floodwaters of reality rush in. Their freedom is driven by a fear of enmeshment. The narcissist fears that if they get too close to you, they will be consumed. They project their own predatory nature onto you. Because they consume people, they assume you will consume them. So, they keep one foot out the door. The sexual anarchy is their escape hatch. It's their way of saying, you don't own me. They destroy the intimacy before it can trap them, unaware that they are trapping themselves in loneliness. Dopamine tolerance dictates their descent. Over time, vanilla sex stops working. The normal validation of a loving partner isn't enough to trigger the high. They need more. More partners, riskier behaviors, taboo scenarios, darker fantasies. The anarchy escalates into deviance not because they are adventurous, but because they are numb. They are punching a bruised arm trying to feel a sting. They are chasing a sensation that is biologically impossible to sustain. They view people as disposable utilities. In their anarchy, partners are interchangeable parts. One provides status, one provides money, one provides great sex, one provides domestic comfort. They are building a Frankenstein monster of a relationship out of body parts from different people because no single human being can satisfy their impossible demands. They dehumanize everyone in their orbit, reducing you to a function. And a tool has no rights, a tool only has a use. Ultimately, the psychological breakdown reveals that their sexual anarchy is a defense mechanism against self-reflection. If they are always chasing, always seducing, always hiding, they never have to sit in a quiet room and ask, "Who am I?" The answer to that question is terrifying. They are no one. They are a collection of mirrors reflecting other people's light. The freedom is a frantic dance to avoid the stillness of their own non-existence. The dramatic turning point arrives when the law of diminishing returns hits them like a freight train. There comes a day, usually in middle age, when the charm begins to fade. The hairline recedes, the gravity takes hold, the seduction looks less like charisma and more like creepiness. The narcissist goes out to the usual hunting grounds, flashes the usual smile, and nothing happens. The supply doesn't bite. The sexual anarchy that once felt like a buffet now feels like a famine. They realize their power was tied to their youth, not their self. This triggers a narcissistic injury of catastrophic proportions. They panic. They ramp up the anarchy. They start pursuing inappropriate targets, people half their age, employees, dangerous strangers. They are desperate to prove they still have it. This desperation reeks. People can smell it. The predator becomes the pest. They are no longer the wolf, they are the hyena, scavenging for scraps of attention. The freedom turns into a humiliating hustle. The victim finally wakes up. This is the plot twist they didn't see coming. You stop crying. You stop begging for loyalty. You stop competing with the harem. You look at their chaos and you don't feel jealousy, you feel disgust. You realize that their freedom is actually filth. You see the disease risk, the instability, the lies. You pack your bags, not in anger, but in indifference. And when you leave, you take the grade A supply with you. The narcissist is left with the cheap substitutes. Without a primary source to anchor them, the narcissist spirals. They need a main supply to come home to wash their clothes, to validate their ego, to pretend they are a good person. With you gone, they are left alone with their anarchy. And anarchy, by definition, is chaotic. Their life becomes unmanageable. The messy hookups, the drama, the lies, it all crashes down without you there to clean it up. They realize they didn't want freedom, they wanted safety while they played at being dangerous. The sexual anarchy starts to exact a physical toll. The lifestyle of late nights, substances, and stress ages them rapidly. They look in the mirror and see the rot surfacing. The Dorian Gray painting is being revealed. They develop health issues, perhaps consequences of their promiscuity. Their body, once their weapon, becomes their prison. They can no longer run from the truth because the truth is written on their skin. They experience the void at 3 a.m. This is the specific hour of the narcissist's reckoning. They are lying next to a stranger whose name they barely know, or they are alone scrolling through dating apps. The silence is deafening. They feel a cosmic loneliness that is terrifying. They realize that despite having had hundreds of lovers, they have never been loved. Not really, because they never let anyone in. The freedom feels like solitary confinement in a crowded room. They attempt to hoover you back, but it's different this time. It's not seductive, it's pathetic. They cry about how empty the lifestyle is. They promise to change. They say they are done with the games. But you see through it. You see that they aren't missing you, they are missing the structure you provided. They are missing the audience for their performance. You close the door, And that click is the sound of their reality fracturing. The social mask slips. People start to talk. The reputation of the fun player shifts to the sad old deviant. Their peers are settling down, building legacies, holding grandchildren. The narcissist is still at the club, trying to buy drinks for people who pity them. They are stuck in a time loop of their own making. The anarchy that looked cool at 25 looks tragic at 50. They are the joke of their social circle, and they know it. They start to feel sexual paranoia. Because they betrayed everyone, they trust no one. They assume every new partner is using them, cheating on them, or laughing at them. They project their own treachery onto the world. Their freedom becomes a landscape of enemy combatants. They check phones, they accuse, they rage. The pleasure is gone, only the control remains. And control without connection is just abuse. The turning point concludes with the realization that they are spiritually bankrupt. They have spent their entire life currency on cheap thrills. They have no savings of trust, loyalty, or deep bonds. They are facing the winter of their life with no coat. The sexual anarchy stripped them of everything that actually keeps a human being warm. They are naked in the cold, and no one is coming to cover them. The collapse is total and absolute. The narcissist enters a state of narcissistic collapse. The anarchy has destroyed their ability to function. They may lose their job due to their chaotic behavior. They may lose their finances trying to buy supply, sugar babies, expensive gifts, erratic trips. The death trap snaps shut. They are left with the consequences of a lifetime of impulse. The freedom led them directly to ruin. They become the creepy figure in the corner. We must be blunt. The aging somatic narcissist is often an object of revulsion. Their predatory gaze, once masked by beauty, is now naked and unsettling. They make people uncomfortable. They are uninvited from gatherings. The world discards them. This is the ultimate karma. The person who discarded everyone is now discarded by society. They are obsolete. Intimacy anorexia becomes terminal. Even if they wanted to change, they can't. They have atrophied the muscles of love. They don't know how to hold a hand without an agenda. They don't know how to listen. They are feral humans, incapable of domestication. They are destined to die as they lived, separate, suspicious, and superficial. The death trap is a soul death that happens long before the physical body expires. The Museum of X's. The narcissist lives in the past. They recount stories of their glory days, their conquests, their seductions. They bore people with tales of who they used to be. They are ghost keepers, haunting their own history. But the X's have moved on. You have moved on. You are living in color. They are living in a fading black and white photograph. Their anarchy is now just a memory of chaos. The new supply is low grade. They are forced to scrape the bottom of the barrel. They partner with people who are also broken, addicted, or exploitative. These relationships are volatile and violent. There is no love bombing anymore, just mutual usage. They are in a shark tank with other predators. The freedom to choose any partner has resulted in them being stuck with the only people who will tolerate them. Regret starts to seep in, but it's malignant regret. They don't regret hurting you, they regret losing your services. They regret that their life is hard now. They are angry at the universe. They become bitter. The sexual anarchist becomes the angry hermit. They rant against the opposite sex. They become misogynistic or misandrist. They blame the game for being rigged, never admitting they broke the rules. The internal panopticon. They feel watched and judged by their own failures. The voices of their victims, the people they lied to, cheated on, used, start to crowd their mind. They can't sleep. They need constant noise, TV, internet, substances, to drown out the truth. The death trap is the echo chamber of their own lies. They are trapped with the worst company imaginable, themselves. They experience sexual dysphoria. The act itself becomes repulsive to them, or physically impossible. The tool they use to conquer the world is broken. Without sex as a crutch, they have no way to walk. They are crippled emotionally. They are forced to sit in the wheelchair of reality, and they hate it. They realize that sex was never the answer, it was just the anesthetic. The social legacy is toxic. When people mention their name, it is with a cringe or a warning. Stay away from him, yeah. They are a mess. They destroy people. Their legacy is a trail of trauma. They haven't built a family, a community, or a partnership. They have built a warning sign. Their life serves only as a lesson to others on how not to live. Ultimately, the consequence is the final solitude. They die unknown. They may have had thousands of bodies in their bed, but not one person knows their soul. They remained a stranger until the end. The sexual anarchy ensured that no one ever got close enough to see the real them. And now, it's too late. The trap has done its job. It has isolated the target for the final kill, oblivion. So, what is the final truth you must hold on to? It is this: you did not lose a free spirit, you escaped a runaway train. Their sexual anarchy was not a sign of their desirability, it was a symptom of their desperation. Do not envy the freedom of a person who is running from a fire they lit themselves. You are standing on solid ground. They are falling through space. The difference is gravity. You have it, they don't. You must realize that boundaries are the true freedom. By saying no to their chaos, you said yes to your peace. Boundaries create the safe container where love can actually grow. The narcissist has no container, so their love spills out and evaporates. You are the chalice, they are the sieve. Do not let the sieve tell the chalice that it is too closed. You are holding the wine of life. They are holding nothing but air. The new supply is not lucky. They are next. They are stepping into the death trap you just crawled out of. They are entering the anarchy thinking it's a party, unaware that the doors lock from the outside. Pity them. Pray for them if you must. But do not trade places with them in your mind. They are inheriting a natural disaster. You are rebuilding a sanctuary. Your monogamy or loyalty is not boring, it is sacred. In a world of cheap, disposable connections, the ability to commit to one person, to go deep, to build a history, is a superpower. The narcissist mocked it because they couldn't master it. They ridiculed the depth because they are stuck in the shallows. Wear your loyalty like a crown. It is the mark of a high-value soul. The death trap is invisible to them, but visible to you. You have the secret knowledge now. You see the hook inside the bait. When you see them posting photos of their wild life, don't see happiness, see the frantic pace. See the sweat of the hustle. See the terror in the eyes. They are posting to convince themselves, not you. You know the truth. The truth is, they are tired. Reclaim your body. The narcissist tried to turn your body into a public space, a stop on their tour of anarchy. Today, you put up the private property sign. Your body is a temple, not a motel. Only those who take off their shoes and bow with respect may enter. You are sovereign. The anarchy ends at your skin. He will continue to run, driven by the whip of his own emptiness. Let him run. He is running towards a cliff. You are walking towards a garden. The distance between you is necessary. It is the distance between life and death. Do not bridge the gap. Let the chasm widen. The wider the gap, the safer you are. Stand tall in the knowledge that you offered them the one thing that could have saved them, real love. They rejected it for the cheap imitation of sexual anarchy. That is their tragedy, not yours. You are the one who loved. They are the one who left. In the end, the lover is always richer than the leaver. 49. Let the silence of your absence be the loudest sound in their chaotic world. They will search for you in the faces of strangers, in the bottom of bottles, in the darkness of nightclubs, but they will not find you. You are gone. You have ascended. You are free. The anarchy is their burden. The peace is your reward. Close the book on their chaos and open the window to your calm. You survived the trap. Now, go live the life they were too broken to understand. You are whole. You are safe. You are free.